want to know what the older lion has to offer. Okay, Barrera, I believe Barrera is going to rise to the occasion again because you know why? You know, you get complacent as you win world titles, as you make some money in this game, you get a little bit relaxed. Okay, you tend to get a little lazy in the game and expect to win all the time. I've been there, done that one, and I think that what happens is you need something to motivate you. When people are against you, that's motivation. Okay, when everybody thinks you can't do it, that's when we do it. That's why Holyfield still boxes, Bernard Hopkins still boxes. Up until last year, I boxed the last 2 years. All the older veterans fight because we need that negative energy to keep us motivated. Believe it or not.
I believe it. I especially think with Marco Antonio Barrera because he's not a guy who's going to walk away from the game, destitute. He doesn't have to keep fighting. He's an educated guy. He's got a pretty impressive background, so I can see him going, you know what? At some point, there's the end of the road is near.
Yeah, but he feels. I talked to him yesterday at the press conference, and I talked to him, and I could see it in his eyes, and I heard when he talked. I listened real carefully, and I see that he wants to vindicate that goals. He wants to go in there and do what he has to do to show that, you know what, there's a mark on my record. I fought Junior Jones twice, so, and matter of fact, other than Junior Jones, any rematch he's won. So, Pacquiao, I think we're no different. The bottom line is that I think that Barrera looking at Pacquiao saying, you know what, Morales beat him after he beat me. So obviously he's very beatable if I beat Morales twice. But sometimes that picture doesn't make sense. It's like De La Hoya lost to Shane, but Shane lost to Vernon Forrest. But what happened to Vernon Forrest for De La Hoya? Boxing is very, I can say disorganized when it comes to winning sometimes, but it's very organized when it comes to losing.
So when you talk to a guy, you look at him, can you tell by looking at him his level of confidence? Because obviously there's a lot to overcome here because he really got mopped up. I mean, he got destroyed in that first fight. He had a tough time.
You know what's funny? I like Barrera so much as a fighter. I had to fight him with an injury when I fought him. And I actually like him so much that when Pacquiao beat him like that, I was hurt. It hurt me because
I think it hurt a lot of people.
You don't want to see
a lot of people like the guy.
You don't want to see a champion get demolished. You don't mind him losing.
He got taken
okay?
apart.
It's like when Tyson lost eventually. You don't want to see him lose like that. You rather see him lose a decision and go out. They go out on their shield. But to go out like Barrera went out, it was like he took a beating. Okay, and he came back from the beating. He came back from the beating and he fought Morales and stuff like that. He won. And he looks pretty impressive. I think right now, motivation begins when everybody gives up on you, and that's what motivation is. And I think he's very, very motivated. And Pacquiao is very happy and relaxed. You know what I'm saying? I mean, he has a lot of stuff going on in his life where now he can take boxing for granted. It looks like he can take boxing for granted, take his natural talent for granted. He can punch. He's younger. I look at him, of course, mine is, his styles are different than mine, but a younger version of us, we're coming up, so dominant. I'm interested in seeing exactly what Pacquiao does this time. I know Barrera's going to fight very different. He's going to tuck his chin this time. He's going to come off a jab, okay? And
what did he do wrong the first time?
The first time, Pacquiao, you tell problem with Pacquiao, okay? And if I fought him, the same problem, I think, in this ultimate something. The problem with Pacquiao is that he looks so beatable. When he fights, he does everything wrong. He's got his chin in the air, he's leaping and lunging, he has his hands down, he does all that wrong. But he looks vulnerable, but guess what? He's not sometimes because he's looking to counter you. He don't mind about getting hit sometimes. He don't really care. He's challenged you, his punch against your punch. So what happens is you can overestimate yourself. You can go in and think, I'm going to knock this guy out. He's so vulnerable. That's the way I looked at him when I saw him. I said, when I picked the fight on ESPN about Barrera and Pacquiao, I said, Barrera will probably win the fight because Pacquiao looks very vulnerable. Okay? And Barrera's pick up on mistakes like he did with the Prince. But he looks some guys look so beatable. Like I thought these look so beatable. You can't believe that you're not beating them when you're in the ring. And I think Barrera's more frustrated mentally than physically ever. I mean, it wasn't a physical beat that he took. It was more mental, psychological.
That's Kevin Kelly, of course, a former world champion. He's done a lot of work, HBO, Fox Sports. He's joining us here on Fox Sports Radio, 1460 on a Thursday, helping us break down Pacquiao and Barrera, which, of course, you can grab on Cox Cable or your satellite with a little pay-per-view on Saturday night. What's it like when you're in there? Because that was one of those fights, and I rarely see fights like this. I remember Diego Corrales against Floyd Mayweather, the same thing, where, and I don't know if this has happened to you, where you literally, you can't figure it out strategically, and you can't avoid getting hit. And how frustrating is that?
It's psychological. See, boxing, people realize it's not physical as much as psychological. Psychological warfare in the ring, okay, it's almost like countries fight, worlds fight, okay? Country against country. And what happens is if you're in the ring, boxing, and you're getting hit with shots, and you don't know why, and you count on your team a lot more at that moment.
And you're not seeing them either.
Right?
And that's why I would
You know
assume
it-
that's awful.
It's nothing worse than losing a fight in round 2, okay, and not knowing, okay, and you still got, what, 10 rounds to go. You say to yourself, wow, I hope I don't take this beat in front of the 10. So fighters like myself, me, I always know I can punch. One thing about a puncher, okay, you know, you see my left hand resurrect my career many times. And when you're a puncher, you have that opportunity. I know if I hit this guy, so of course I'm more ambitious
Right.
to catch him with a shot. Pereira, I think, and hit Pereira's head, Pereira don't want to win by decision. Pereira wants to knock Pacquiao out. I can tell. The reason is because Pacquiao stopped him. Okay, it's such a, I mean, he really destroyed him. And the only way you get revenge in the sport is I got to come back and destroy him. It's almost what Roy Jones did to Montel Griff. Montel Griff won a fight, got disqualified. Roy Jones was to make it definite that you cannot beat me. Well, Les Lewis did, okay, to Hostin Rocky.
Yep.
Okay, when you lose a fight, you don't want to come back and just win the fight, a decision. It doesn't mean anything. You want to come back and annihilate your opponent. Why? Because he beat you in such a fashion he was supposed to win. The odds were in my favor, I was the favorite, and you were the underdog, and you demolished me. So what goes through your fighter's head when you're getting hit is, I can't believe I go through 10 more rounds and was beat. You know what I'm saying? Is there a way out?
And I guess it depends on what kind of fighter you are.
Well,
if you're not a great fighter, then you kind of take it. You
it's
don't
not
make
even
the
that.
adjustments.
It's all real. It's real power. When I was getting hit with shots, and I fought a guy, I don't remember the fight. They said one of the greatest fights in ESPN history. I fought with Carter Rivera, and he was beating me from round 1. And my trainer went to stop the fight in round 7. I took an enormous beating in round 1, right? And I was 47-1, first loss, after my first loss. And I told him, give me one more round. I didn't know what I was going to do. I had no idea. I just knew that I was getting my butt whooped. And I looked at God and I said, God, please, if this is meant to be, let it happen now. I went out round 8 and started mounting a comeback. I started hitting him. He started buckling and wobbling. Guess what? Round 9, one left hand, he went down. The fight was over in round 9. I saved my career and saved myself. And that's what Pereira's trying to do now, save his career and save himself.
So it sounds like you're buying, we're talking to Kevin Kelly, it sounds like you're buying the deal with Pac-Man that he may be a little distracted, that maybe he's not as hungry as he was in the past. Some of the stuff before, you know, if you watch the HBO preview show,
I don't
some
watch
of the
that.
stuff, but
That's hype.
the way they chronicled his training, you're right, maybe it is hype, but you know, he's not showing up when Freddie Roach is expecting him to show up, and he's in the U.S. for a couple of days, and he mysteriously flies back to the Philippines.
Well, you know what it is? When a fighter doesn't do what he normally does, it's different. Like now, fighters have taken their careers more in their own hands by not going to camp. Fighters go to camp all the time. Floyd stopped going to camp. Floyd Ben stopped going to camp. So big camp is made for people that don't really want to train. That's what it's made for. It's not a necessity. You want a world title, you gotta go to camp. Your whole career, you fight 30, 20 fights, you get a world title fight, you start going to camp. Now for those 20 wins, you never went to camp.
Right.
Okay? Now you're fighting bigger fights, they feel you get more distracted. The team around you panics. That's what happens. Your manager panics, they don't want the wife around you, they don't want the kids around you. They want to give you every possible option to win the fight. That they feel they're doing it, doing you a favor.
So you think it's hogwash?
I believe, I'm a new age fighter, okay? I believe camp depends on the fight. Now we got a fight that's out of control when he's home, he's going to strip clubs, like a Tyson, okay? Sometimes just as he did, you go to Channel strip clubs, you're not going to bed on time. Look at Floyd. Floyd goes to the clubs at 2 or 3 o'clock in the morning, training on fight. It works for him, but it works. Everybody's different. Camacho used to do that same thing, stay up all times at night, train 2 o'clock in the morning. Fighters, you know, wake up 5 o'clock, don't want to go running. You got to do what works for you, okay? The traditional way of doing things is not that way anymore, okay? We're in a high-tech age of training. Right now, I got physical trainers, physical therapists, I got boxing gym, all the new high-tech equipment. I don't need to go 3,000 miles or lock myself up, because you know what happens to fighters? Let me tell you what happens. You forget why you're fighting when you get that plush training camp. The clothes are getting washed, okay? Well, in my fact, I remember as I was coming through my prime of my career, living around the wife and kids was an essential thing. Why? I wanted to go to the gym. I couldn't wait to get to the gym. One, okay. Two.
Are they around right now?
Two with the kids. Always, you know, you want to have that edge, and it gives you that edge. You realize why you're fighting. You go to camp, Muda God's family, why he's fighting for, why he sees that every day when he's coming up, and why it makes him hungry.